Today, we delve into a topic that has shaped the lives of millions, the Israel-Palestine conflict. This is a story that spans over a century, with roots buried deep in the sands of history. The conflict has reverberated across the globe, touching lives far beyond the borders of these two nations. But today, we're not going to delve into the politics, the treaties, or the geopolitical chess game. No, our focus is on the human cost, the toll it has taken on ordinary people. The mothers, fathers, children who have had their lives irrevocably altered, their homes demolished and their futures thrown into uncertainty. This is a conflict that has displaced families, destroyed homes, and taken countless lives. The psychological impact on those living in the region is immeasurable, a lasting scar on the collective psyche. As we venture further, remember, we're not discussing politics, but the lives of ordinary people caught in the crossfire. Imagine waking up one morning and you're told to leave your home, the only place you've ever known. The Israel-Palestine conflict has been a catalyst for such devastating realities for countless families over the years. Picture it for a moment. The heartbreak, the confusion, the fear as families are compelled to abandon their homes, their roots, their very identities, and venture into the unknown. This displacement isn't a one-off event, it's a relentless cycle. A painful rhythm that has been echoing for decades in the region. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs estimates that tens of thousands of Palestinians have been displaced since the turn of the century. Each displacement is a story of a family uprooted, of lives disrupted, of dreams shattered. Consider the tale of a family from East Jerusalem who were forced to leave their ancestral home overnight. The children who learned to walk on the cool tiles of their house had to say goodbye to their childhood sanctuary. The parents who had envisioned growing old in that house found themselves grappling with the harsh reality of displacement. Or take the case of a family from the Gaza Strip. A large-scale military operation led to their displacement. The family patriarch, a fisherman, lost not only his home but also his livelihood. His boat, his source of income, was destroyed. His family, which he had provided for all his life, was left to fend for themselves in an unfamiliar place. These stories are not isolated incidents, but represent the lived experiences of many. The ripples of this displacement extend beyond the immediate loss of a home. It threatens the very fabric of their community, disrupts education, and affects the mental health of the displaced individuals. The mass displacement of families due to the Israel-Palestine conflict is a humanitarian crisis that requires urgent attention. It's not just about the loss of homes, it's about the loss of security, of stability, of a sense of belonging. For these families, home has become a memory, an elusive dream they yearn for every day. Now imagine that home you were forced to leave is no longer there. Let's take a moment to delve into the reality that many face in the wake of this ongoing conflict. Picture your home, your sanctuary, transformed into a pile of rubble. Your neighborhood, once filled with laughter, camaraderie, and life, now lies in ruins. The places where children used to run freely, schools where they learned their first words or mastered their multiplication tables, have been reduced to mere fragments of their former selves. But it's not just homes and schools that bear the brunt of this destruction. Hospitals, the very places designed to heal and nurture, have also been devastated. Imagine needing medical attention, but the local hospital is just one more casualty of the conflict. The one place that should symbolize hope and recovery, now a stark reminder of the grim reality at hand. The destruction of infrastructure goes beyond just brick and mortar. It's about the obliteration of a way of life, of normalcy. Roads that once led to bustling markets or tranquil parks are now impassable. Water supply systems that quenched the thirst of thousands are now non-operational, leaving families to scramble for this basic necessity. Power lines that once lit up homes now hang limply, plunging entire communities into darkness. This level of destruction disrupts every facet of daily life. The routine trip to the grocery store or the morning walk to school has become a dangerous, often impossible journey. It's not just about losing a building, it's about losing a lifeline, a piece of one's identity, a fragment of one's history. Education, healthcare, basic amenities, all severely impacted. This is the harsh reality for those living amidst the conflict. Children are denied their right to education, the sick cannot find the care they need, and simple daily tasks become Herculean challenges. For those living in the conflict zone, the landscape of their childhood is but a fading echo. The streets they played on, the schools they learned in, the homes they grew up in, all disappearing into the ether of conflict. A fading echo of a life that once was, and a stark reminder of the heavy toll this conflict continues to exact on the ordinary people caught in its crossfire. Behind every statistic of death, there lies a story untold, a life cut short. The Israel-Palestine conflict has seen a staggering loss of life. Men, women, and children alike, none have been spared the grim reality of this ongoing strife. Each loss paints a grim picture of the price ordinary individuals have to pay in the theater of war. Let's delve into the numbers, not to depersonalize the tragedy, but to understand its magnitude. Since the turn of the century, thousands have perished in this conflict. Thousands of dreams extinguished, thousands of voices silenced forever. Imagine a bustling city, the size of a small town really, wiped off the map. That's the equivalent of the number of lives lost. And these are not just numbers, but individuals with dreams, ambitions, families. Mothers and fathers who won't return home, children who will grow up without their parents, friendships abruptly ended. The human cost of the conflict is simply staggering, but it's not just about those who lost their lives. It's also about those who were left behind. The grieving families for whom the dinner table is forever one chair short. The parents who lost their children, the children who lost their parents. The void left behind by the departed is a constant, painful reminder of the cost of this conflict. It's also about the loss of potential. Every life lost is a potential doctor, teacher, artist, leader snuffed out before they could reach their full potential. Each casualty of this conflict is a blow to humanity, a lost chance at progress, at understanding, at peace. And let's not forget, each death fuels the cycle of violence. Every loss brings with it grief, anger, and a thirst for revenge. It's a vicious cycle, a self-perpetuating tragedy that seems to have no end in sight. Every life lost is a tragedy, a future unfulfilled, a family left to mourn. The human cost of this conflict goes far beyond the numbers. It's a loss that reverberates through generations, a wound that time struggles to heal. The scars that are unseen often cut the deepest. In the shadows of this ongoing conflict, there lies an often overlooked casualty: the human mind. The psychological impact of the Israel-Palestine conflict is profound, particularly upon the most vulnerable among us, children. Imagine the constant state of fear and uncertainty that these young souls have to endure. The sounds of conflict become the lullabies that rob them of peaceful sleep and happy dreams. Trauma is not a visitor that leaves swiftly. It lingers, morphs, and grows roots in the psyche, often leading to long-lasting consequences. Childhood experiences lay the groundwork for adult mental health. For children who have seen their homes destroyed, their families displaced, and their lives endangered, this conflict is not just a chapter in their history books. It is a living, breathing reality that shapes their perception of the world. The consequences of this trauma are far-reaching: anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. These are the unseen scars carried by survivors. These wounds, unlike physical ones, cannot be bandaged or stitched. They require time, care, and understanding to heal, if they ever do. The impact of this conflict extends beyond the visible destruction. It seeps into the minds of those involved, altering their lives in ways we can barely comprehend. In this conflict, even survivors carry wounds that time may never heal. In the midst of political debates and power struggles, the human cost of the Israel-Palestine conflict is too often overlooked. It's a tale of families uprooted, homes reduced to rubble, lives abruptly ended, and the psychological scars inflicted on those who remain. It's a story that unfolds in the shadow of a conflict that, while political in nature, has deeply personal and human repercussions. As we sign off, remember, it's not just a conflict, it's a human tragedy.